Oxaracetam has been shown to improve short and long-term memory, to boost concentration and focus, and to improve cognition and increase cognitive energy. It's a water-soluble ampakine nootropic in the Racetam class of compounds. It's considerably more potent than the original Racetam, Oxaracetam. It was the third Racetam nootropic, and it was developed in the 70s. It's chemically derived from Oxaracetam, where the main difference is the addition of a hydroxyl group. Oxiracetam, similar to other Racetam nootropics, has a pyrrolidine nucleus at its core. Oxaracetam modulates AMPA-sensitive glutamate receptors, and it increases neurotransmitter release. A favorite Racetam among the nootropics community, neurohackers use Oxaracetam to boost memory and learning, to support brain health, and for its mild stimulant properties. Oxaracetam significantly improves cognition and memory, sensory perception and reflexes. Focus and concentration get a boost, and recall is easier. Oxaracetam enhances choline acetyltransferase in the brain. This is an enzyme responsible for acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is the neurotransmitter that's critical for encoding new memories, reasoning, concentration, cognition, and neuroplasticity. Oxaracetam modulates the AMPA receptors in the brain. The ampakines provide a stimulant effect by influencing glutamate receptors, without any of the side effects that are associated with stimulants. Oxaracetam also seems to boost ATP synthesis in the brain cells. The Racetam class of compounds have a pyrrolidine nucleus at their core, but Oxaracetam also has a hydroxyl group. And Oxaracetam is a cholinergic compound, meaning that it affects acetylcholine levels in the brain. Oxaracetam is sold as an over-the-counter and an unrestricted compound in much of the world, including the United States. One of the older synthetic nootropic compounds, it's known as a cognitive enhancer and for its stimulatory effects. It's considered to be more potent than Oxaracetam. As an ampakine nootropic, it helps to increase attention span, alertness, and to boost memory, including the ability to form long-term memories, even if taken after the initial memory formation. Oxaracetam and Oxaracetam are both water-soluble. The half-life and the nootropic benefits are similar. The potency of Oxaracetam seems to be about 5 times that of Oxaracetam, so it takes less to get the same effect. Both Oxaracetam and Oxaracetam are cognitive enhancers, and both have neuroprotective qualities. Both Racetams are able to improve learning and memory, and both are able to repair brain damage. Oxaracetam has additional benefits that are not shared with the Oxaracetam. It provides more of a stimulatory effect than the Oxaracetam. Some even compare it to modafinil. Many prefer Oxaracetam to Oxaracetam, but if you're a first-time user of Oxaracetam, start with a lower dose to see how you react, and make sure that you stack it with a good choline source to avoid the Racetam headache and irritability sometimes associated with Racetam's depleting choline. Oxaracetam boosts memory and cognition. It modulates the AMPA receptor in the brain. These receptors work like control channels, overseeing and regulating synaptic transmission. Oxaracetam also increases the density of binding sites for neurotransmitters on the AMPA receptors. The result of these actions is a stimulant effect without any of the negative side effects associated with stimulants, and there's clinical evidence that this stimulant action has an effect on memory and cognition. One double-blind, placebo-controlled trial was done with 65 patients who were diagnosed with primary degenerative dementia. Patients were given 800 milligrams of Oxaracetam twice a day for 12 weeks, or placebo. The subjects were tested before the trial and after 6 and 12 weeks of treatment. The researchers found a significant difference in favour of Oxaracetam based on the quality of life scale and several neurological tests of memory. Oxaracetam also seems to prevent an imbalance of acetylcholine activity when NMDA receptors are malfunctioning. AMPA and NMDA receptors work together for the flow of glutamate that's necessary for learning and memory, including long-term potentiation that's associated with neuroplasticity that allows long-term memories to form. Oxaracetam boosts the availability of acetylcholine in the brain, leading to improved short-term and long-term memory, and eliminating brain fog. Oxaracetam does this by boosting the sensitivity of the acetylcholine receptors. It enhances protein kinase, and this affects M1 acetylcholine receptors. Oxaracetam even demonstrates the ability to repair these receptors when they're damaged. More acetylcholine results in better learning and memory. Glutamate is an excitatory relative of GABA. While GABA has a calming effect, glutamate stimulates. Glutamate is the most common neurotransmitter in your central nervous system. Glutamate is a pivotal neurotransmitter in the brain. It links the brain circuits involved in memory, learning, and perception. Too little glutamate can cause problems with memory, learning, and perception. AMPA and NMDA receptors wear out or die. Acetylcholine levels decline, and cholinergic neurons wear out or die. All these changes can happen at any age, and they're a product of the food we eat, what we drink, the lifestyle habits, and the air we breathe. So Oxaracetam can help for age-related cognitive decline, as well as for a student looking to do better in school, by boosting the acetylcholine and controlling the glutamate in the brain. Clinical studies have looked at using Oxaracetam to treat Alzheimer's, ADHD, dementia, concussions, and other brain disorders. Many of these trials have demonstrated Oxaracetam's ability to improve learning, spatial learning performance, memory, recall, and quality of life scores. Oxaracetam works similar to other racetams by targeting the neurotransmitter acetylcholine and glutamate. Acetylcholine has a significant impact on memory formation and recall, and glutamate plays a role in memory formation, motivation, and attention. Oxaracetam encourages the use of acetylcholine in the brain, so when you're using Oxaracetam, you need to ensure that you have adequate choline levels available to make the acetylcholine. Most users take the Oxaracetam with a choline supplement like alpha-GPC or CDP choline. Users report that Oxaracetam clears brain fog. It improves focus and motivation, especially when learning new material or working through a tedious task. You should see a significant improvement in recall. Reading may be easier, giving you the ability to get through more pages faster and to retain the information for later. Some report an improvement in mood, which could be the result of more acetylcholine available in the brain. Oxaracetam does have a stimulatory effect, so try not to take it too late in the day, as it may interfere with a good night's sleep. You should be able to experience the effects of Oxaracetam soon after you take it. It's water-soluble, so it's digested and it enters your cells quickly, and unlike other stimulants, there's no crash once the Oxaracetam leaves your system. Researchers worked with 96 patients who were diagnosed with dementia for 12 months. Patients were treated with 1,600 milligrams per day of the Oxaracetam or placebo, and they were assessed at 2, 6, and 12 months of the trial. The patients who were treated with the Oxaracetam showed a significant improvement in reaction time and in cognition. The placebo group experienced a worsening of the condition. The study authors concluded that the Oxaracetam favorably acts on the symptoms of dementia, and it can improve information processing, reaction time, and attention. A traumatic brain injury is a major public health issue affecting 1.7 million Americans each year. A traumatic brain injury can be caused by a sports injury, a work accident, a car or a motorcycle accident, a fall, or other things. Many survivors end up with long-term or even permanent neurocognitive dysfunction, affecting the cognition, the motor function, and the personality. These disabilities are estimated to cost $9 billion in lifetime medical costs and $51 billion in productivity losses in the US. In a brain subjected to a traumatic brain injury, there's glutamate toxicity, free radical injury to brain cells, electrolyte imbalances, mitochondrial dysfunction, inflammation, apoptosis or cell death, and stroke. In one study done with 30 rats, the researchers looked at the role that Oxaracetam could have on a traumatic brain injury. The animals were randomly divided into 3 groups. Rats in the treatment group were given 100 mg per kg of oxaracetam for 21 days. Neurologic impairment scores were measured on days 1, 4, 7, 14 and 21. The researchers found that the treatment group had significantly less brain impairment after 7, 14 and 21 days, and they concluded that the oxaracetam shows promise in decreasing neural injury caused by a traumatic brain injury, increasing learning ability, memory and spatial cognition. Researchers worked with 43 patients to evaluate the effects of oxaracetam on organic brain syndrome. This is a brain dysfunction that's not attributable to a specific disease like Alzheimer's or dementia. This double-blind, placebo-controlled study had one group of patients take 800 mg of oxaracetam twice a day for 8 weeks, and the other group take a placebo. In the organic brain syndrome patients with the mild to moderate cognitive impairment, the oxaracetam improved cognition, logic, and attention. The placebo group experienced no change in the cognitive impairment. Another study with memory-impaired rats showed that the oxaracetam restored acetylcholine receptors, restored learning and memory as a result. Recommended Oxarastem dose is 750 to 1,500 mg per day, divided into 2 equal doses, one in the morning and one in the early afternoon. Since oxaracetam boosts the efficacy of acetylcholine in your brain, you should take it with a good choline source like alpha-GPC or CDP choline. Oxaracetam is non-toxic, so it's considered well tolerated and safe. Side effects are rare, but they can include anxiety, fatigue, headaches, nervousness, and nausea. Side effects are often only the result of an unusually high dose. Headaches from using oxaracetam typically happen when you forget to combine it with a good choline supplement. The headache is often a symptom of a choline deficiency. Oxaracetam is especially helpful for those who are suffering from a lack of energy, brain fog, and the inability to focus. It influences the AMPA and the NMDA receptors in the brain. It improves the efficacy of the neurotransmitter glutamate. This excitatory brain chemical is responsible for sending signals between the neurons in the brain, and it plays a critical role in learning and forming memories. Oxaracetam is also particularly useful to students and executives who want to boost cognition, learning, and memory. It boosts the efficiency of the neurotransmitter acetylcholine in your brain. This is critical for encoding new memories, for reasoning, concentration, cognition, and the growth of new synapses, which is known as neuroplasticity. Oxaracetam helps to improve verbal fluidity and sociability. Words seem to come easily, and vocabulary that you don't know you had comes into play. You should mix the oxaracetam with a good choline supplement like alpha-GPC or CDP choline. It helps to boost neural acetylcholine, so it demands the presence of more choline in your brain. You could safely boost your daily intake of oxaracetam to 2,800 mg per day if needed. For more information about nootropics, herbs, supplements, or natural treatment plans, check out my website.